I'm Brother Lee, and this is my wife Monique, and this is Redeemed, where the redeemed of the Lord tell their story. Those God rescued from the hand of the foe. Looks may be deceiving. What may look good on the outside just might be hurting on the inside. Reggie Cooley Jr. can tell you all about how he went from the party scene to the throne of the king. Let's listen in.
My name is Reggie Cooley Jr. and I'm 27 years old, and I started coming to Victory Outreach Las Vegas when I was 16. My dad, he was given a flyer to our church, and at that point in time, it was in 2009, and he found himself on drugs and just about ended up in his deathbed, and he knew that he had to change, and somebody had invited him to our church. And within our church, we have recovery programs. We have our men's Christian recovery home, and so he became a part of that. And once he got into the home, then I started to come to church little by little. And so I knew of God, and even growing up, I would consider myself a good kid. I would get good grades, and all I wanted to do was run track and I ran cross country, and I just wanted to play video games. And I was really quiet. I was quiet, and I kept to myself. And so I thought of myself as a good kid. I wasn't really hurting, and I wasn't depressed. I didn't think that I was lost. And so my desire for life was to graduate high school, eventually go to college, get a good education, get a degree, and just get a good job. Just all the normal things that the world tells us to be successful. And so once I graduated high school, I ended up going to graduation parties. And so at that point is when I fell in love with the party scene. I fell in love with the lights and the music and the dancing and the girls, and it was fun. And so from that point on, once I graduated high school, and I went to college right there at UNLV, and I was living on campus, and I wanted to be far away from home, but not too far away. And so I was living on campus, and I wanted to do my own thing. And I got caught up with the wrong crowd. Got introduced to smoking. That was the first time I'd smoked, was in college, and I tried it a few times. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I would drink and I would party and I would keep smoking, I was lost, and it became addicting. And I wasn't able to sit still. I needed to be doing something. And my dad, he would call me up on Sunday, and he would say, "Hey, do you want to come to church?" And I'd say, "No, I'm fine, and I don't feel good." And he knew what was going on. And so he would say, it's too late, like I'm already here. And so I would go out of the dorm, and he would pick me up. And he would sit down, he would have different talks with me, and he would see the path that I was going down. And he saw the decisions that I was making were the same decisions that he used to make. And he felt like I was living the generational curse. And so he would sit down and talk with me. And it would just go in one ear and out the other. I didn't want anything to do with God. I didn't want to change. I was having fun. I was young. I was 19 years old, and I wasn't ready to change yet. I was having fun, doing my own thing. And it was a conference that was coming up in the summer of 2012, and it was a youth conference for our God's Anointed Now Generation ministry. And my dad, he had paid for me to go, and so out of respect, I went. And I went reluctantly because I didn't want to change. I didn't want God to move in my life yet. I wasn't ready to give up the fun. I wasn't ready to give up the party scene. And I remember I went, and I felt the power of God touch my life right there at the convention. And since that moment, I've never been the same. I felt like God was tugging at my heart to go to our urban training center. And so at that point in time, it was in July, and God had told me to go in September. And so at that moment, I gave my life to the Lord, and I committed to Him, and I made the decision to go to the urban training center. And I had everything set up for college. I already had my dorm set up. I had my classes set up. I ended up canceling everything. I canceled my classes, dropped out of college at that point, and I made a commitment to go to the urban training center. And since that point, God has revolutionized my life. It was the best decision that I could have made, was giving my life to the Lord. I've been able to travel throughout the world, throughout different countries, and God's done a great work in my life. I've been back from the training center now for 7 years, and I enrolled in Bible school right away. I knew that God had a purpose for my life. So I enrolled in Lincoln Christian University. I'm a graduate of the college with my bachelor's in Christian ministry. Currently, I'm married, and we have a beautiful son named Micah and a baby on the way. And my wife and I, we're overseers of the gang ministry, and we also run our gang home. And I'm here to tell you that God is real and that God did a great work within my life. My name is Reggie Cooley Jr. and I'm redeemed.